All right, old school NBA fans, self-researched NBA facts. Got another video for you. As always, thanks to anybody who watches my videos, subscribes to my channel. I really appreciate it. You guys are terrific. Very knowledgeable bunch. Love your comments. Love doing the research. That's why I did this channel, to gain the knowledge both ways. On the front end and the back end. It's really good. Anyway, in this video here, I've done videos like this before, but not in this context at all. And that is the number one net team in the NBA. So, does that automatically make you the best team? I mean, maybe not, but more or less it does. It takes your offense and your defense, combines it. There's a formula they use to come up with the net best team. But typically, they're either at the very top or very close to the top. And I'm just going through here and just wanted to show, again, this is people that love to talk about, teams that, usually it's the Bulls, and how easy they had it. The competition wasn't very good. Their team was just this unbelievable juggernaut. Even if all that's true, which we all know it's not even close to the truth, but even if all that is true, they're not the only team, okay? And the Bulls just didn't have the best team. There's no way. I mean, you can look at a number of rosters that were way better, way deeper than the Bulls were. And not to say the Bulls weren't a great team. They were, certainly, especially the second three-peat. Absolutely a great team. But being the best team guarantees you nothing, and I'm going to show that right here. So the number one net team, you can only go back to 1951. There was no evidence really before that. But in 1951, the very first year that they even had a rating system, offense, defense, net, all that kind of thing. 1951, the Minneapolis Lakers were the number one net rated team. Okay? Well, they lost. And the team that beat them was the Rochester Royals. They beat them. So the number one net team, they got beat. They were the best team in the NBA. So I've done one before, a video on record, okay? And some people think, oh, that could be misleading. There's injuries, blah, blah, blah. Well, the net, this is another way to look at it. Okay, in 1952, 53, and 54, Minneapolis was the number one net rated team. They won all three. In 1954, Syracuse was the number one net rated team, and they won. Or I'm sorry, no, they lost. Minneapolis won it in 54. They were not the number one. Syracuse was. Well, they got beat. 1955. It was actually the Fort Wayne Pistons, number one net rated team. They lost. The Syracuse Nationals beat them. 1956. Philadelphia. They won it. Number one net rated team. 57. Boston won it. They were number one net rated. 58, Boston was number one net rated team. St. Louis beat them. Of course, there was injuries to Bill Russell, but ultimately St. Louis won. From 1959 through 1966, Boston was the number one net rated team and won every year. And it's impressive, no matter if you're the best team or not. It's not easy to win every year. I'm going to show that. In 1967, the 76ers were the number one net rated team. They won the championship. In 68, Philly was again, well, they got beat. Boston won it. In 69, the Knicks were number one. They got beat. Boston won it. In 1970, the Knicks were number one. They won. In 71, it was Milwaukee. They won. 1972, the Lakers. They won. 73, the Lakers were the number one net rated team. They got beat by the Knicks. The 1974 Milwaukee Bucks, number one net rated team. They got beat by Boston. 75, Washington was number one. They got beat by Golden State. And then the next year in 76, Golden State was the number one net rated team. Well, they got beat by Boston. Funny how that works. In 77, it was Portland. They won. In 78, it was Portland. Well, they got beat by Washington, mainly because Bill Walton got hurt, yada, yada. In 1979, Washington, number one net rated, they lost. Seattle won it. In 1980, it was Boston. They lost. LA won it. 81, Philly was number one. They lost. Boston won it. In 82, Boston was number one net rated team. They lost. Philly won it. In 83, Philly was number one and won it. 84, Boston, number one and won it. 85, Lakers, they were number one and won it. 86, Boston, they were the number one net rated team and won it. 87, Lakers, number one net rated team, they won it. In 88, Boston Celtics, still the number one net rated team. I didn't even know they were the number one net rated team that late into Bird's career, but they were. Well, they got beat. Detroit beat them, but the Lakers won the championship that year. In 89, Cleveland Cavaliers were the number one net rated team. Well, guess who beat Cleveland in 89? The Bulls. But Detroit won the championship. In 1990, it was the Phoenix Suns who actually beat the Lakers, who had the best record in the NBA, before they lost to Portland in the conference finals, but ultimately Detroit won the championship. 91-92, it was the Bulls both years, won it both years. 93, it was Seattle. Well, they didn't win it. Chicago did in 93. In 94, Seattle again, number one net rated team. That's when they got that massive upset by Denver. They got beat, and Houston won it. In 95, it was Utah. Well, they got beat, and Houston won it. 96 and 97, the Bulls were number one. They won it. In 98, the Lakers were the number one net rated team, but the Bulls won it. In 99, San Antonio number one. They won it. In 2000, the Lakers, they won it. In 01, San Antonio, they got beat by LA. In 02, Sacramento, they got beat by LA. And I know there's a lot of controversy around that Sacramento-LA series in 02. And deservedly so. It was controversial. In 2003, the Dallas Mavericks were the number one net rated team. They got beat by San Antonio. In 2004, San Antonio again. They were number one net rated team a lot. That's why I always said I thought that Duncan should have won more. Even though he won 5, I thought he should have won like 7, to be honest with you. But anyway, 04, number one net rated team. They got beat by LA, but ultimately Detroit won the championship. They beat the Lakers. In 05, San Antonio again. They won it. In 06, San Antonio again. They got beat. Miami won it. In 07, San Antonio again. They won it. In 08, Boston. They won it. But 09, Cleveland. They were number one net rated. They didn't win. It was the Lakers. In 2010, it was Orlando. They got beat by the Lakers. The Lakers won it. 2011, Miami Heat. You know, the newly Heatles. The big three. All that stuff. The decision. Everything that went into that. They were the number one net rated team. Well, they got beat by Dallas, team that won it. 2012, it was the Bulls. But that's when Derrick Rose went down. We're never going to know what could have happened with that guy. You know what I mean? He had all the promise in the world. Shame. They got beat. Miami won it. In 2013, it was Oklahoma City. They got beat by San Antonio. And Miami beat San Antonio to win it. In 2014, it was San Antonio. They won it. 2015, Golden State. They won it. 2016, Duncan's last year, San Antonio again. But they got beat by OKC, who then got beat by Golden State, who then got beat by Cleveland, who won it. 2017, Golden State, they won it. 2018, it was Houston, and they may have won it, but Chris Paul got hurt in Game 5, which he sat out the last 2 games of the season. They got beat. Golden State won it. In 2019, Milwaukee, number one rated team. They got beat. Toronto won it. In 2020, Milwaukee again. They got beat. The Lakers won it. That was the bubble. 2021, Utah Jazz. I would have lost a lot of money on that one. They were the number 1 net rated team in 2021. Well, they got beat, I think, in the semifinals, and Milwaukee ended up winning it. 2022, Phoenix. They got beat. Golden State won it. 23, Boston was the number 1 net rated team. Well, they got beat. Denver won it. 2024, it was Boston, and they won it. Now, you want to break it down by decades? It's very interesting. Okay, so in the 1950s, 51 through 59, 6 of the 9 number 1 net rated teams won it. Now, there wasn't as many teams. That doesn't mean the league stunk. It just meant there wasn't as many teams. There wasn't many rounds in the playoffs. But still, you just kind of got right to the point playing the best teams right away in the playoffs, how it worked. In the 60s, 8 of the top 10 number 1 net rated teams won the championship, with the only exceptions being 68 Philly and 69 Knicks. And Boston won both of those. They won 9 of the 10 championships in the 60s. Just phenomenal. The 70s, only 4 of the 10 number 1 net rated teams won it. The 70 Knicks, 71 Bucks, 72 Lakers, and the 77 Trailblazers. That's it. In the 80s, 5 of the 10 did, and that was all in a row. 83 Philly, 84 Boston, 85 Lakers, 86 Boston, 87 Lakers. Those 5 won it. In the 90s, only 5 teams. The Bulls were 4 of them. 4-0 as the number 1 net rated team. 4-0. That's unbelievable. I mean, only Boston had won more, but even they took a loss in 1958 as the number 1 net rated team. But they did win 2 championships as not being the number 1 net rated team, but so did Chicago, and they did that in 93 and in 98. But anyway, of the other team was the 99 Spurs, who won it. So typically you're looking at right around 5 out of 10, whatever, for the most part. But in the 2000s, only 4 out of 10. That was the 2000 Lakers, 05 Spurs, 07 Spurs, and 08 Celtics. In the 2010s, only 3 teams as the number 1 net rated team won the championship. 2014 Spurs, 2015 and 2017 Warriors. And then the only team in the 2020s is the 24 Celtics. So in the 21st century, it's definitely not a common occurrence. Since 2000, so the last 24 seasons, it's only happened 7 times. 7 out of 24, 7 of the last 24 championships, the number 1 net rated team won the championship. That's crazy. Why is it so hard to win as the favorite? Everybody thinks it's so easy to win as the favorite. Not so much. Not really. So when you add it all up, and it's 1951 through 2024, that's 74 years. 36 of the number 1 net rated teams won the championship, and 38 did not. And when you look at how many in the 50s and 60s, 14 of the 36 right there. And if you want to throw in the 70s, so half of them was the 50s, 60s, and 70s. That's 18 of them. So in the last 44 years, only 18 have done it. And actually, if you go all the way back to from 1988, so that covers the last 37 years. There's only been 12 of the last 37 number 1 net rated teams won the championship. The Bulls have 4 of those 12, and the Spurs have 4 of them as well. So there's 8 of the 14 right there. Golden State won 2 of them. So Golden State, the Spurs, and the Bulls, those 3 teams have 10 of the 14 championships won by the number 1 net rated team in the last 34 years. That's crazy. It's just getting harder. I think part of it is At least in very real recent time, the load managing. You don't really know who's got the best record. Home court advantage just doesn't mean what it used to, and that's unbelievable. I've done videos on that before where it shows that home court advantage was huge in the playoffs. It used to be huge, and that's what everybody tried so hard in the regular season for. Now they don't. It's just training camp, basically. I hate that about the modern NBA. I really do. I hate that they just use in like the All-Star game. It's just a laughable joke. But anyway, that's all I got for this video. I just found it very interesting that, once again, people think that just because you have the best record or you're the number one net rated team, that automatically you should be winning the championship. Well, if that's true, explain how only 14 of the last 37 number one net rated teams won the championship. Any idea why that is? I don't know. I don't know the answer. I'm asking you guys. What is it? What is the reason why such a low amount? I mean, that's about what, 38%, something like that. But in the 50s and 60s and on all that, they were winning the majority of the time. The 70s, 80s, 90s even, they're winning about half the time. But not recently. They're not doing it. Not just in the load management era either. Even in the earlier part of the 2000s. Like I said, only 7 to the last 24, 14 to the last 37. It's pretty crazy. So anyway, that's all I got for this video. Please leave something in the comment. Explain to me why. Don't just say the load management era, because it goes farther than that. Like I said, I tracked it all the way back to 1987 and only 14 of 37. But yeah, 7 of the last 24, which is really the big alarming number. But yeah, let me know in the comments. What is the reason why the number one net rated teams aren't winning the championship like they used to? And, even back then in the 80s and the 90s and the 70s, just because you were the favorite and the best team didn't mean you were going to win anything, unless you had, that dude on your team. You know what I mean? And there was only a handful of teams that ever had that dude on their team, So anyway, that's all I got for this video. Thanks for watching, and that's it for now.